everyone. Welcome to another episode of Bench to Bold. I'm Marnie.
And I'm Alisa.
And we're really excited today to have our guest, Tiffany Blackmon. And what's so fun about having Tiffany on is that we already feel like lifelong friends and we have not ever been in a room together. But I think everybody's going to want to be friends with Tiffany after meeting her, and we get to share her with our audience today. So Tiffany, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you so much, girls. It's so nice to finally face to face. We talk so much on social media, but the power of social media. But thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, thank you for joining us. So when I think about Tiffany Blackmon and done some research and looked at your Instagram and followed you for over a year or two now, and we definitely have mutual friends, what I would say about Tiffany is that she is a Renaissance woman. You do it all. You do cooking and fashion and charity. And those are things that all really connect us. Alisa is very much the same. While I'm not good in the kitchen, I like to say I call the fire department and give them a heads up when I'm turning the oven on. But I like to eat. So I am good in the kitchen in that respect. But so Tiffany, tell us about you and how you started your journey and everything that, made me really say, I want to be friends with this woman. She's so great.
Well, you're so sweet. And I guess in the aging process, I just turned 60 last year, 61 last week. I'm not sure how that happened. I'm just not sure how that happened, how it happened so quickly. But in that time, you have your career. I have my degree from TCU, food science and nutrition, then went to culinary school. And, you try to find yourself. You have the degree, you have the interest, you have the skill set. And, there's a thing that you move forward and you go, I love this, but I don't want to do this the rest of my life. But I've done television and radio cooking shows for years because I'm a chef. And but not your ordinary chef. I never say never, but do not want to work in a restaurant. And I have been fortunate not to do that. So I've done television and radio, but this thing called the pandemic shut us all down and we had to pivot. I wasn't doing morning TV again, wasn't doing radio. And I had to reinvent myself. And it was the time that I started my podcast in 2020 when my shows are pretty much all in studio. Well, in 2020, we didn't do that. So I just had to reinvent myself. And that's when someone said, you know what? You are a woman that owns her experiences. Experiences could be positive, negative, or somewhere in between. And those experiences I wanted to share with other women and men, because a lot of people, especially throughout the aging process, and there is an age gap that kind of hide and aren't transparent. And it's not because they're trying to be sneaky or anything like that. It's because they're afraid to being judged. They're afraid to being condoned. They're afraid of all those things. So I thought, you know what? Let me take my podcast and let me create a blog. And let me do this influencing thing at my age at the time, which was 2018, subtract 7 years. So I didn't think there was a space for me in social media, and there is. So starting the podcast, starting the blog, influencing, doing all those things, social media, content creating, I just became very transparent and talked about menopause, talked about perimenopause, talked about losing a child, talking about, just all kinds of things that people would reach out and say, oh my gosh, that happened to you? It happened to me. And I didn't think anyone went through this because we didn't talk about it. So that's really how I started the platform and just thought, you know what, let me just be very honest and relatable, and hopefully I will find that audience. And I have. So it's been fabulous.
That is amazing. Well, when you tell your story and, the name of our show is Bench to Bold. And obviously, I don't think that, we've had amazing guests, and everybody does have a bench to bold moment. And you certainly have had obviously a few or many, as we all have. But it really is like I feel like a bullseye. Like if I was going to say like, who is the bench to bold poster child, it would be Tiffany. And that is so great. And so thank you. So share with us and share with our audience some moments that, you know, you might have felt where you were benched, and then how you were able to get yourself off the bench and be bold where you are now and continuing to do that.
Absolutely. In 2011, and I want to really put a disclaimer, I'm not a medical professional. I have learned a lot through my journey, my health journey. But in 2011, I decided I was competing in the fitness world. I did that whole thing. And I decided it was a good idea to get implants, breast implants. And I got them and didn't like them immediately. I didn't like them. There, and again, this is, people get to do what they want to do, but they immediately encapsulated. So I was like, just take them out. And the surgeon I was using said, you will hate this. They'll be flat. They'll look like raisins. You won't like it. So I said, okay, let's redo it and go smaller. So we did. So in 2012, fast forward a year, I started getting very sick, autoimmune, pain. And I mean, I was an athlete. I mean, I was training and I was perfectly healthy, eating well, having a glass of wine on occasion. And of course, but doing all the things that you're supposed to do, taking vitamins, doing supplements. Well, I kept getting sicker. Well, peaks up and I'm in my 40s. And I go to different doctors, like, what is wrong with me? And they're like, oh, it's menopause. You're just having menopausal symptoms. I even had a doctor tell me, and you talk about being benched, have you seen a therapist about this? And I was like, yes, I've seen a therapist about this. And I wouldn't have my wife take her implants out. So I felt very benched. I felt discouraged. I had GI problems, skin problems, losing my hair. And finally, I'm listening to a podcast, and I had a podcast guest she said, you know what? Have you thought about breast implant illness? I had it. Maybe that's what it is. I'm like, I never heard of it. I heard a podcast, and I heard the doctor, my surgeon that's in Austin. He was on that podcast, and I didn't know it was in Austin. I'm in Fort Worth, Texas. And I thought, I don't care where this man is. I'm going to fly to him and have my implants out or see. And I did. And I felt bold. He encouraged me. He's like, have you been around this? Have you had toxic overload? Have you done this? And I felt heard. And so we scheduled the surgery. I couldn't do it for a couple of months because I had a lot of toxins in my body. And when I was when I went to Austin the night before, I was like, no one's talking about this. I mean, there were a few celebrities, but that was in 2023. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to get online and ask. And I did. I had a woman from Bahrain. I had a woman from London. I had people from all over the world. I was up all night speaking with these women that had breast implant illness, had them removed. And they assured me that I wasn't going to look like a freak. And I was, just all the things in your mind that a qualified physician has told you, you won't look good. You won't. And we thrive off of how we've taken care of ourselves. So that is a huge marker in my life. I decided at that point, we're going to talk about it. And I was screaming from the mountaintops. And have I made people pissed off? Yes, of course. But again, if anyone wants implants, I'm all about it. It just wasn't for me, but it gave me, when I saw the name of your podcast, when I met you, Marnie, I thought that is a defining moment with me. And I know there's tons of people that have those defining moments, but it's my job to just scream it and help people.
That's fantastic. Well, what's so interesting is that oftentimes things that are our setbacks become the way that we use that as motivation and our fuel for a comeback. And you obviously, that's a relatable experience that you've had. I mean, wildly unpleasant. And I'm glad that you're doing great and are able to share that with many people that are going through it, or maybe even considering, getting implants and what to look for in a potential doctor if they are considering that. And as you were talking about the fitness world, Alisa that's her world. She, was
I used
in
to
fitness.
compete.
She
Yeah.
competed.
I used to compete in
my God.
Yeah, I used to compete in figure. You're telling me the story. It's so crazy. I used to compete. I was a figure competitor in my early to mid 30s to I was 39. And funny that you should mention the breast implant issue. I competed with a girl who had the same thing, and she was told, you're going to look horrible and you're whatever. She's so happy she had the surgery, and she's so happy she lives her best life now, and she's so healthy. She's quite a bit younger. I'll be 54 in February, so she's not even 40 yet. So she was dealing with that from a very young age. But I felt the same way you did. I never wanted breast implants, and thank God I never got them. But a lot of people have taken them out from having, becoming encapsulated and having the autoimmune issues. There's a doctor down in Florida that I researched that does it on a daily basis all day long. He's taken them out from all these women that are getting sick. But I can also identify with you too. Some of the things doctors always just put off on menopause.
Mm-hmm. Or crazy, or you're just crazy.
Or you're crazy. Go see a doctor. My mother is a prime example. She, bless her heart, she's passed away now, but she got told that she was crazy when she went to the doctor with some issues, and it was menopause, and she was crazy, and he put her in a therapeutic environment, in a therapy session for 8 hours a day for a week. And lo and behold, the psychiatrist told her, "You're not crazy. Have you seen a neurologist?" And she had a brain tumor. So, and this is a doctor, an internal medicine doctor, who told her she was crazy, when she was explaining her symptoms. She had a brain tumor. So, yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, so I'm a big fitness person too. So I love it.
I can tell. So you get me. And
I get
my
you.
coach at the time, I wasn't flat, but they were like, okay, put these chicken cutlets, not chicken, but this, the to lift you up. And I'm like, but and I mean, so it was a difficult time. And then you look your very best, Alisa, you look your very best. And then you have a judge telling you, go work harder. And you're like, well, dang.
I know, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's, as women, we definitely subject ourselves to other people's opinions. They really do matter, but they really don't matter. So I love the fact that 5 or 6 years ago, when you were trying to kind of reinvent yourself, which I think we all do, and that's a healthy thing to do, as long as it's rooted in reality. I mean, some people will try to reinvent themselves and you're just like, okay, that seems like a little bit much, but you do you, and I'll be your cheerleader for that. But I think when things are rooted in reality and the things that you can add value in, and that's what I love about, following you and seeing what you're doing, Tiffany, because it is stuff that we can all do, whether it's fashion, whether it's cooking, whether it's being healthy. Obviously, we're all at that age where menopause and female things are really changing our bodies. I mean, but not mentally, only mentally better. And I do think that women, and there's many studies about it, that women in their 50s, once they kind of get to their 50s, are the most productive, more productive than they were way before that. And so I love the fact that, now you're out there doing all these amazing things. Like, we have a hard stop at, after when we're done recording today, because you've got to go and do stuff. And what gets you excited though? What at this point in your life gets you excited to go and do things? What is it?
So, the competition in this world that I live in, that we live in, of social media, and we've turned this. I have 2.5 of us that are working behind the scenes and in front of the camera to make this business a real business. And for years and years and years, I have friends that were like, "Oh, your hobby." I'm like, "Y'all, hobby is making bone broth, okay? To perfect my bone broth." All right. So no, this isn't a hobby. It's a full-time job. And, I get excited when brands notice, when people notice, and you make a difference and you get that DM from that person in Minnesota that needs assistance or something, or you get that person in California that's trying so hard to find the right supplement, or, you just, that excites me so much when I hear or see, or someone stops me. We were at a TCU football game a couple of years ago in somewhere, Arizona or something. And someone stopped me and said, "Oh my gosh, you are Tiffany Blackmon." And I'm no one, seriously. But they stopped me and said, "I follow you." And I'm like, "How are you following me? That is so good." And they're like, "I found you because this recipe for whatever." And that excites me. It excites me because I'm using my brain, because we all know cognition is an all-time challenge these days. And we have dementia and Alzheimer's just right there staring us all in the face, and we're not sure why. We have an idea. But, this is keeping me busy. Marnie, you said the 50s are the most productive. I couldn't agree more, because I think in the 20s and 30s for sure, I was trying to find myself. I was trying to be something I actually was not. And now I am who I am. And I know you girls are the same way. This is who we are. Take it or leave it. We can all improve. Obviously, we can all improve. But yeah, this is it. But that excites me. Being on your podcast excites me. Get invited to podcasts. It's, because we just recorded 253rd podcast. I'm just like, and I've not had really time to be on, but this is our off season, and I'm just so honored to share with you guys, because we can all work together and share.
Yeah, it's so true. It's interesting. It's that, I know so many women that are beautiful and educated, and we're all in the same age range. And I do think that, going to college and you're told to do something and you're like, "I don't know if that's really what I want to do." And then you do it, or you might have then you have family on top of that. And so what's really fun and refreshing is that, like making friends. And we talked about this a little bit before we started recording, is making friends virtually through things that we have in common. And, I was fortunate when my kids were younger and I was the room mom and I could make friends that way. But then as you get older, then your kids are, in high school and college, and you're not, it'd be weird if you were hanging out in their classrooms looking for friends. So where else do you go and find friends? Obviously Alisa and I met through doing charity work, but now finding friends and, people that are relatable to you and have similar interests. I think it's something that is a very special thing, that while there are many drawbacks from social media, I think that connecting on social media with people that you can resonate with is something very, it's fun. And I'm excited that we connected, and like I said, we have mutual friends. But hearing you talk, I feel like I'm listening to somebody that I've known my entire life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because we know each other. Absolutely. I agree. Couldn't agree more, because, in this whole world that we live in, you're right. You have your children. Those of us blessed to have children. I don't know the age of your children. What age are your children?
21, 23, and 25.
Oh my gosh. I didn't even know you were 25. Good grief. At least
I don't have any children. I'm a dog mom. Yep.
Oh, good.
I'm a dog mom.
Good for you. Good for you. So when you have children, and Marnie, I wonder if you thought this, your kids you go through elementary, junior high, high school. And then at the end of high school, you have that group, and you just think, am I going to have any friends? Like you have your college friends and your high school friends and your neighborhood friends, but those are the people you're with at sporting events and school events and extracurricular. And I remember when my daughter graduated, I was like, what am I going to do? And then I moved to Fort Worth from Austin. I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm just going to start over and make new friends. And, now we're at the age too that we can choose our friends.
That's really so amazing that you just said that, because you are given a very limited group of people that you are kind of forced to hang out with. Happens to be that I like those people, but now we're at an age where you can be like, I want to be your friend. I like you. Like, I want to be your friend.
I was getting ready to say the exact same thing. When Marnie was talking a moment ago, we can actually be picky about who our friends are, and I love that. Because we are picky. I'm very picky about who I choose to be in my life. And I learned a lot of what I'm choosing to do now from Mel Robbins and her podcast, Let Them. I love it. I've learned so much from her. And I talk about this with Marnie all the time. I'm like, I love the fact that I can choose who I want to spend my time with, because when you turn 50, things look totally different than when you were in your 20s, 30s, and even your 40s. Things start to really make sense a lot more, and who you choose to be in your life. And, I'm a no drama kind of person. And yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, I did that in high school, junior high.
No, it's very high school. So you can choose who you want in your life and to be picky. And when I saw you were going to be on, one of the things sitting here before you came on, I told Marnie, I'm like, talking about commonalities and a lot of things we have in common. I'm a fashion influencer and you love fashion. And I had no idea that you used to compete in some sort of bodybuilding. And then also I own a restaurant. Actually, we just filmed a show right before this and we're sitting at my restaurant right now. And you're a chef. Yeah.
I know. And so what's really fun is that, and I always tell my children, like, when you work hard and you make good choices, like, choices become a privilege and a luxury. If you make bad decisions, you don't have a lot of choices. That's what happens. Like, those are the consequences of being a dumbbell. So it's like, now at our age, like, we get to make good choices because we've put the discipline and the work in and so forth. All right. So let's talk about a couple things. Let's talk about fashion. And I am a equestrian, I can ride Western. But I love horses and it's the year of the horse. So, almost. We're in February. I think the year of the horse officially begins, but let's talk about fashion. Where did your love of fashion start from? And what do you do to, cultivate that?
Goodness, I have loved being dressing up my sister, my friends. I just would dress them like little dolls. I didn't have much to dress them when I was younger, but I just loved it. I love fashion. I tinkered a little bit in college. Going, should I do fashion merchandising? No, because I was on a food scholarship. So I just loved it. I just always loved it. So would select my own. And when we started the blog, I thought everything was going to be food centric. I thought it was 100% food and fitness. I worked for the Texas beef industry, the Texas Beef Council, and the National Beef Board for many, many years. I was the executive chef in Texas. And that's when I was competing. And I was doing food and fitness. And so training people, and back when I was competing, we're like, oh my gosh, you cannot eat beef. Oh gosh, no, you'll, I hate saying this word, but you'll get fat and it was it was so crazy, but we just weren't educated in the power of protein. So, I started my blog and I thought, you know what? My food people aren't coming over here because I was working for another brand. Not what in the world? So let's throw in some fashion. Let's throw in some beauty. And I did. And so the pillars were fashion, beauty, fitness, and food and interiors, of course, wellness. And they started coming over for fashion. The people are like fashion, beauty. And so we pulled away from recipes. And then the recipe people started coming back. So with this whole blogging and social media and all this creation, we have learned, we thought, it was diluting the brand by having 5 pillars. Well, it wasn't. People want a little bit of everything because I have this group that's this and this group is that. So that's how the fashion came. And, in content creating, there's so many beauty and fashion brands, so many, and they support support my business. They really do support my business, and I'm so blessed to have them. And I'm going, like I was telling you earlier, I'm going to a Laura Geller event, and she is mature skin. She's geared her makeup to us. And but my daughter uses it, and she's 26. So, just telling people that, yes, you can do that. So it's just been an evolution, and we try, you guys know, you take away and you try it again, and trial and error. And you were saying what excites me. It's like, oh my gosh, my food people are back. Oh gosh, look. So wait, I have a recipe that went, a reel that went viral or whatever. So yeah, that's kind of the evolution. It was just kind of trial and error, and it wasn't intentional, but now it's intentional. So.
Well, I love your enthusiasm for all of it. And I think that that's what's so contagious. And when people are responding to you, I think your enthusiasm of it, aside from obviously being involved, being informed and giving, great information. And I'm looking at your background now, and your interior is beautiful. And it definitely is a palette of everything that makes us feel good about ourselves, looking good, feeling good, eating healthy, and certainly being in nice surroundings that can soothe us and offer us some comfort. All right. So what's next? Like, what are your goals, Tiffany? I mean, what can we expect in the next year or so, 2026 from Tiffany?
Well, I'm hoping some big brands. That's what I'm hoping for. It's interesting, Alisa, because being in the food world and social media, we have just kind of tinkered with a few things, and we are actually working with restaurants, and we're working with a hospitality group in Dallas Fort Worth area, Texas, and we're doing a lot of, they want to bring more people in this concept, or they want to bring more people in this concept, or they want to push events. So my daughter is my marketing manager, and she films all the content, produces all the content. And so it was exciting because they hired us over a year ago, and we brought people in the door for that restaurant. And it was just, and that's more of a local centric, but we're hoping more of that. I had a doctor's office come to me yesterday, and functional wellness said, hey, would y'all be interested in doing the social media? So it's exciting to do different things that people may not be doing yet, and giving businesses, small businesses, large businesses, ideas, sparking ideas for them, hoping how we can help. And, back to the 50s, you're more productive. I'm a little more tired in my 60s than I was years and years ago. But yes, it's exciting to keep your brain working. I can say this, I will never stop working, because we have to keep moving. I'm not going to be put out to pasture. I know that when my mother had her children, I know that the disclaimer for everything was, you're done. You're just done. Now you're going to play bridge, or you're going to do this or this. No, we're going to start businesses. We're going to support women. We're going to start podcasts. We're going to start new ideas, and hopefully, things will go on. We'll move off. But you know what? Sometimes ideas fail, and we just put our big girls' panties on and just get back to work and try something else.
That's exactly it. I mean, that's really what being bench to bold is all about, is finding you're finding yourself, and also figuring out ways to just keep your foot on the gas and keep moving. I speak in sports a lot, but keep moving the ball down the field. All right. So let's talk about the rodeo, because I know that's something we have like a few minutes left. I want to hear about the rodeo. All right. Are you a rodeo queen? Like, have you competed in the rodeo? What is it all? I want to know everything.
So Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo that starts tomorrow, and tonight we have massive events all over the city. It's a huge rodeo. It's been around since I was born, but it's just huge. Today we released rodeo fashion in on our blog, and last year when we released rodeo fashion, go figure. Okay, girls, I'm not really a rodeo fashion girl. But when we released it, we actually, it approved our website to start selling ads. It got so many hits and clicks. So we were like, okay, we're mom now. You're going to be Rodeo fashion. So the rodeo's here, and it's huge for our city. Fort Worth is just so blessed to have it. You're not going to get a restaurant reservation for the next month. So, but it's just it's at Dickey's Arena. It used to be at Will Rogers. Fort Worth, it's in the Stockyards tonight. So it's just have y'all been to Fort Worth?
I love the Stockyards. I'm an old gringo girl. I have 32 pair of old gringos, and I met the owner 2 years ago, and I love Mavericks in the Stockyards on the corner. Bought my first pair of Swarovski crystal old gringo boots. We'll give them some props because I'm an old gringo girl. I love Lucchese's. I love cowboy hats. That's what another love Marnie and I share. You know, she calls me one day. She's like, you got to get this hat. But yes, I love old gringos. So
that is, I worked with them a couple of years ago, actually. So yeah, they're wonderful. And actually tonight there's a Kemosabe pop-up here in the Stockyards. Of course, it's rodeo. So Kemosabe here tonight at the Stockyards.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, it's just very busy, but oh my gosh, that is hysterical.
Yeah. So Marnie and I are going to have to come to Dallas. And when we do, we're going to have to come meet you, go to the Stockyards, have a good lunch or dinner. Yeah,
or both.
And I love the Cowgirl Museum too.
I got a podcast with your name on it, girls. You can get on down.
Fantastic. All right, we can't wait. Yes, I mean Fort Worth is great, and I've been to the Cowgirl Museum, and which I think is right next to the Dickies, or it is right next to the arena, isn't it? Yeah. So it's great. I mean, I think that's so fun, and I love that you are taking all the things that you like and combining them into something and really enjoying all of it. So I know that the next month you'll be very busy. We'll be looking forward to all the rodeo fashion tips and cooking tips that you are going to be sharing with us and everything else. So that is fantastic. Thank you, Tiffany.
I'm looking forward to it for sure.
Yes. Well, I am so honored that you, found some time for us in Rodeo Month to sit down and share your story. And I'm so glad that you were able to get your health under control. And before we close, I mean, you look amazing. Are there any tips that you do, or what's consistent in your routine that give you that glow and all that energy?
Well, a lot of it's a darn good makeup artist, but the energy is making sure you eat well, but enjoying yourself too. I mean, honestly, Alisa knows that when we were competing, we were very restricted. I was bikini. I tried fitness, but I couldn't balance my body, my muscle, but, it's just very restrictive. So really enjoying life, but then knowing your boundaries and knowing that, something that I didn't do this grow in my younger years, but sleep is so huge.
It is. We agree. Yeah. We get 9 to 10 hours a night.
I'm in the granny club. My friends know I'm asleep by 9:30.
Yeah. Marnie's like, it's my bedtime. I got to get home. I got to be in
I'm like
the
a
house
toddler.
by 8:30.
I get grouchy when I know I need to go to bed. I'm like, I got to go. I can't. I literally will I will throw a fit if I cannot be in bed by 9:30.
Oh yeah. I love my sleep.
For sure, and I've been using a lot of natural beauty since I had my journey with health. I've tried to go as toxic free as I can, but it's not going to happen overnight. There's great products out there, but I do use a lot of great non-toxic. I've tried to do this with my home, but it's impossible for my home to do this because I have other people living here. My husband, that's not very compliant, but just it's eating well, living well, being happy, choosing to be happy, and using the right products. And you know what? Dress for yourself for sure. But and again, sleep. I did not prioritize sleep in my younger years, and now I'm like, oh gosh, I've got this ring, and I'm she is so.
Wait, Tiffany, how long have you lived in Fort Worth?
So I went to college in Fort Worth and moved to Austin. So I've been back here since 2017.
All right. So do you know Scott Murray? Do you know who Scott Murray is? This NBC, the sports reporter. All right. So I'm in Dallas like at least once every 6 weeks because I do a show with Scott Murray and Marjorie Lewis.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Well, let's get you over here. Okay.
Okay. And I'll bring Alisa this time. Yeah.
Y'all come over. I'd love to have you in the studio, or if not, we'll do virtual. But
no, we'll come to the studio. And I love the Drover Hotel. Like, it's great there.
Yeah, we'll come to the studio. So I started my new makeup line, Alisa Luxe Beauty. So when we come, I'll bring you some.
Please do. Please do. I'd love it. I would love it. Great.
Yes.
Well, let's plan it.
So Alisa just started a company called Alisa Luxe Beauty, and she's got great products, and we're all about the same age. And so I think you'll be a fan of it. So I'm excited. What's exciting for me, and what Alisa and I talk about this, is that we love being connectors and bringing people together and finding ways to help other people that we like, that we choose to help other people. And that's something really exciting. And obviously, connecting with you today.
Congratulations. That's exciting.
Yeah, it's
so exciting.
Yeah.
Can't wait to try.
Yep.
Yes. So, Tiffany, we know you have a very busy day and certainly lots of things to be catching up on. Is there anything? So how do people find you? Where do people go to find you and follow you and become part of your Tiffany tribe?
Okay, well, you can follow me at Tiffany C. Blackmon. It's Tiffany Collins Blackmon. My cookbooks are Tiffany Collins. But Tiffany C. Blackmon on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, all of the things in YouTube. My podcast is my so-called fabulous podcast on all platforms. And of course, YouTube. And my blog. Go follow, do all the things, the fabulous things, and be in my tribe.
Fantastic.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yes, same here. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Tiffany, for being on this incredible episode of Bench to Bold. I'm Marnie.
And I'm Alisa.
And we'll see everyone soon.